First speaker this evening is Nancy Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, commissioners, staff, members of the public, and especially the Boy Scouts. I am here on behalf of the town of Weddington, serving as their mayor. I would like to read to you into the record the joint resolution between the town of Weddington and Union County to withdraw the town of Weddington's consent to the inclusion of its incorporated territory within the Providence, Stallings, and Wesley Chapel Volunteer Fire Department districts. You have this in your packet already. It was received, I think, last Friday. I'm going to skip down to, for the sake of time, to the near the end. Now therefore be it resolved that the town of Weddington seeks acknowledgement, recognition, and approval from Union County of the town of Weddington's withdrawal of its consent to the inclusion of its incorporated territory within the Providence Volunteer Fire Department and the Stallings Fire Department Fire Protection District and the Wesley Chapel Volunteer Fire Department Fire Service District. Be it further resolved that Union County agrees to take all necessary actions to effectuate the intent of this resolution, including the adoption of an interlocal agreement as needed, and Union County shall should indicate its consent and agreement to this resolution by its execution below. Be it further resolved that the town of Weddington's withdrawal of its consent to the inclusion of its incorporated territory within the Providence Volunteer Fire Department and the Stallings Fire Department Fire Protection Districts and the Wesley Chapel Volunteer Fire Department Fire Service District shall become effective on July the 1st, 2012, thereby giving the town of Weddington sole responsibility and authority to oversee and fund the provision of the fire protection service within its corporate limits for the fiscal year 2012 and beyond. Be it further resolved that the town of Weddington shall demonstrate its ability to oversee and fund the provision of fire protection services within its corporate limits through the adoption of appropriate tax rates, entering into appropriate contracts with volunteer fire departments as needed, and by performing any other actions necessary to assure that the appropriate oversight and funding are in place for the provision of fire protection services for the citizens of Weddington on or before July the 1st, 2012. This was adopted by the Weddington Town Council on the 10th day of October 2011, signed by myself. And we would ask that you give this resolution consideration this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Next is Mr. Dan Barry.
Thank you. My name is Dan Barry. I'm the Mayor Pro Tem in Weddington, residing in Weddington, here to talk about the Weddington Fire District issue. Staff, Commissioners, Mr. Chairman, we, the Town Council, in unanimous vote, approve the resolution which you just heard from the Mayor. We tonight have a unique opportunity to lead on the fire issue, and we should begin together, for it's in all of the citizens' best interest. Weddington, in concert with the County Commission, has the ability to take control over the fire service in Western Union County and in Weddington. And in Weddington alone, we've been facing challenges for the last 20 years. Allow me for a moment to clarify some comments recently quoted in the paper. I was reminded over the weekend that I accused the County Commission of dragging their feet on the issue. Only recently was the county asked to become engaged in the Weddington challenges on the fire service, so it's hard for you to drag your feet, but I'm sure you can recognize my frustration when it's an issue that the town of Weddington has been trying to address for somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 8 years. The town of Weddington spent over $1 million in the last 2 years subsidizing fire service, and this is an unsustainable path for us. Weddington has to take control over fire service issue, or we will face major budget issues in the coming years. We learned at our joint meeting last week that the Weddington could go it alone and move forward in the creation of a fire district. But we chose to come before you in the spirit of cooperation and ask that you join us as true partners in addressing the fire service needs in Western Union County and Weddington. I ask that you allow the motion to be added to your agenda and that you vote in favor of supporting Weddington's efforts. Thank you for your consideration.
That concludes our informal comments. and it's now time for additions, deletions, and the adoption of our agenda.
I move to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve. All those in favor say
I'd like to add, based on the conversation we just had in front of us, before we adopt the agenda, I'd like to make a motion to add a discussion concerning the resolution that was read into the record.
others. Hearing none, we have a motion to add to the agenda the resolution regarding, or the resolution from Weddington. Any discussion? Jonathan?
Manager, I've got the
Is
email.
that a proper? We don't ever discuss.
Point of
It's just
order.
a motion to add or to delete.
You just approve it up or down.
Motion is to add, discuss, but just the addition itself, not the merits of the.
Okay. My apologies. All those in favor to add the item to the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no.
No.
Who starts off?
Sure. I'd just like to clarify, the reason I made the motion to add a discussion of Weddington's resolution concerning the creation of the municipal fire district was to provide clear direction to the staff, since that was an ongoing issue regarding the board's concerns or what information was needed in order to make this decision, because there are some things that need to be considered by this board. Or if, in fact, a decision has been made about this resolution based on statements that were made that Weddington should unilaterally move forward with this, that were made to the press, that were made in emails, and that seems to be the recommendation of the fire commissioner because that's the person making the statements, then I didn't see any reason to delay this until November because Weddington basically had said that there was a guideline or there was a deadline. So I was hoping to either have a conversation to direct staff so that they knew what this board needed in order to make a decision, or to give Weddington the decision they were looking for. I hope that the fact that it wasn't put on the agenda for tonight is a willingness of this board to really have an open conversation and discussion about what Weddington's asking for and about the process. And that information actually will be brought back to the November meeting, even though it is past the deadline. I think Weddington would like to know. And we need to have the conversation for their benefit. Just remind everyone.
First off, I think it's important to point out that without Lynn, a lot of the work that we get done wouldn't get done. And she's a very integral part of this county, and we really appreciate you too, Lynn. The pleasure is truly mine, so thank you. Tonight, there was an issue that was brought forward to be added to the agenda. I opted not to vote to add it because I think it's important to point out that this issue has not been going on for a couple of weeks, or it's not been going on for a year. This issue has been developing for 27 years. 27 years this issue has been developing. And unfortunately, serious issues such as public safety tend to get politicized by opportunistic politicians, wannabe politicians, and even to the extent that some of these folks go to the extent of taking citizens and using them as pawns in their political scheme. Just to prove this issue is being politicized for political gain, I think it's important to point out that Commissioner Keeler's Treasurer's own blog has a post as early as 3 o'clock this afternoon showing that this issue is very political and it's being politicized for political gain. Well, I refuse to play politics with your safety. Ultimately, the town of Weddington does not need the county to do this, and that is straight from their own town attorney as well as our state representative, Craig Horn. Our job as commissioners are to make decisions based on what's best for the county as a whole, yet Weddington has asked us to rush a decision to pick who we wish to pay higher taxes. We received this resolution on Friday afternoon. Our staff has not had a chance to review it. Our legal staff has not had a chance to review it. And I choose to continue my due diligence, and if that is viewed as dragging my feet, then so be it. This issue has been brewing again for 27 years. So my question is, what's 1 month? That's right, there's a November election. Such is the deadline. I refuse to play politics with your safety. Thank you.
I echo those sentiments, Lynn. It is a privilege and a pleasure to serve with you, and I don't consider myself your boss. I consider myself your friend, and I hope that that's the same. But thank you very much for the sentiments. And I want to thank the Boy Scout Pack 169 for leading us in our pledge tonight. I tell you, if you don't see Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts out in the community to spur your spirits, nothing will get you going. I also want to thank, I know we've got the mayor of Weddington and the mayor pro tem here. Thank you for your hospitality Monday evening. We were able to have a joint session with them and discuss some issues that obviously we've heard about here tonight. A couple of things, and Commissioner Johnson shared it well. Part of my reason for, I guess you could say I was being called out of order, was an attempt to be able to see if I could get my questions resolved so we can get the item on the agenda. And my question was, and I've got the email here from our county manager that, and I'll read it verbatim. It says, please be advised that staff has not had an opportunity to review the document. I do not anticipate that we will be prepared for any substantive discussion by your board meeting on Monday. It's my recommendation that the staff have sufficient opportunity to review and that the item be placed on November 1st agenda. Now, I certainly don't disagree with that whatsoever. However, I know how efficient our staff is, and if they've had an opportunity, I was hoping that we'd be able to have a discussion. And so not being able to find out if our staff was prepared to discuss this or not, thus my vote on that. But I do want to say just a couple of things. One, Commissioner Keeler pointed out the fact that I said Weddington could go about this unilaterally. I absolutely said it. And it came directly from their attorney's mouth. That was an option. I understand that. And that was the only way that I could make a comment at the time without tying the county support until I had an opportunity to discuss this with the attorney. I've shared that with any of you that have taken the time to call me. And then I read the quote by the Mayor Pro Tem, Mr. Berry, said, we spent 2 hours with them talking about us, and they could not answer the questions. Well, with or without you, we're moving on. And yet tonight, the same person asked for our cooperation to work with them. And he also said they will drag their feet and not vote on it. They know it's coming. It took them all week to get the resolution together, and I certainly don't like pitting ourselves against a municipality when we can work together, but you got to give us time. There's no doubt about it. One thing I want to make it clear to the people tonight is that I absolutely support our fire services here in the community. To the people of Weddington, you will not go without protection. I will assure you of that. Until we can get this quagmire cleaned up and we can determine which way we're going to go. But I believe we got good people in President Jack Parks, who's here tonight, and also Butch Plyler. I've said it from the get-go, and I'll say it again tonight, that I believe the merger that is recommended by the fire study that was approved by the previous board, including Ms. Rogers and Ms. Keeler, is the way to go. There are 6 of 8 issues that's been resolved, and I still believe that we can make progress on that. But I think this is a perfect example where government needs to get out of the way and let these fine men and women resolve the issues and come with us with some kind of recommendation. And last but not least, I believe that the merger, for the most part, and Commissioner Johnson touched on it briefly, is the most cost-effective way to move forward. I've not heard any exact cost of what this thing's going to cost the people of Weddington, but I cannot have my hand on any issue that's going to create much higher fees or taxes without some type of input from the public. Thirdly, I want to congratulate Ms. Donna Cook. She's a 19-year veteran with the Union County Public Schools. She's currently the Waxhaw's Rayview Elementary for being the district principal of the year. Her husband also is a great servant down at Marvin Ridge High School, Mr. Bill Cook, and want to thank her for what she's done for our young people. And last but not least is a point of our community. On November the 5th, the Union Academy auction will be held at the Ag Center. If you've never been, I encourage you to do so. You may look at the ticket price and say, gosh, that's high, but I promise you, you'll come out spending more because it's a great time. They have a wonderful auction, lots of people, and I look forward to seeing everybody there. And with that, I hope everyone have a great evening.
Thank you, Jonathan. Then I'll agree with the rest of the board. We appreciate all you do. When I was county extension director, I never allowed my staff to call me boss. I don't like that word whatsoever. And we used to have an administrative assistants day, and I think it's a national day. And when we did that, then I always cooked lunch for the staff. So if there's a national clerk of the board day, you let me know, and I'll fix you up. But we do appreciate what you do, and you do a fantastic job keeping us informed and keeping us with information. I do want to thank Nancy and Dan and the rest of the Weddington Town Council for providing that opportunity on Monday. It was on my request to Ms. Cotto early in December that we meet with all the municipalities and take an opportunity to discuss issues that are impacting both entities. And it was my desire to assist municipalities if there were things that we could help them with. My interest in this issue, and I understand it as an issue that needs settling. My interest in the vote this evening was to ensure, as Jonathan has said, that the staff had plenty of time to review it, and that I have the information before me to make a intelligent decision. So with that said, I'll move we adjourn.